And ultimately, the kind of lower grufferness melds into the beauty and compassion of the woodwind. Welcome back to Barney Music. My name is Barney. I'm a classical composer and founder and director of Barney Music. In today's episode, I'm going to show you some music from the Moment of Heaven from my first orchestral work, HELPISONTHEWAY for Orchestra. All right, so what we just heard is from HELPISONTHEWAY for Orchestra. It's the fourth movement called the Terror Movement. So what I just played I would say is quite gruff and brisk, okay? And let's look at the musical score. And don't worry if you can't read music, I will walk you through it. Just need to use your imagination. So we'll see that it's mostly brass and strings playing. So let's look at the basses and cellos. This is what they're doing. Okay, just that. Let's look at the tuba. Okay, so the basses, shall we say, this includes like the tuba and the cello, the double basses are doing this. And then we have the trombones and the bassoons doing this. So we kind of have two parts to the chord, but of course, no one's going to hear that. And it does feel quite gruff, which contrasts with the following. So let me play this kind of beginning passage, and I would like you to try to observe the sense of contrast. Okay, so we already saw the dun 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 dun. Okay, it's marked forte, which means kind of strong. And then we have in the woodwinds. Okay, and let's look at the score here. You'll see that I have marked piano. So piano means, of course, soft. Okay, we've seen many episodes now. Okay, and let's examine this chord. So this is how it's going to sound on a piano. But with the woodwinds, we'll see we have the two oboes, and let me play the oboes. And it's going to have a nice plaintive sound on the oboes, kind of like innocent, kind of like, I don't know, two ducks. I don't know. I always think of ducks when I think of oboe. I don't know why. And then the flutes are up here. And that sounds quite bright on a piano, but for the flutes, it'll be nice and calm and very, very pure sound. Plus with the oboes down here. So here's where the woodwinds are. Ooh, sorry. Now let's observe the contrast between the gruffness of the brass and the strings, plus the bassoons, versus the woodwinds. Do you hear the sense of contrast? And part of that is also the lightness of the upper register. which only has 3 notes. All right, it's the woodwinds. Okay, let's continue. Now, I don't know if you perceive this, but it almost feels like the upper melody which at first was kind of drowned out by the semi-bombasticness of the basses, now seems to take over. Let's play I'll play the whole passage one more time. So the first time they played, this upper melody was kind of cut off or interrupted with that kind of gruff theme. But as we go on, it kind of predominates. So it's like we see this kind of battle of two worlds, and the lighter, more innocent idea ends up predominating. And when we get there, it kind of feels like an arrival. So let me play this passage again, and I'll stop and kind of hold the music there. It's not in the actual piece, but I'll just do it to help us appreciate it more. Do you feel it what I'm saying? Okay, let me play it again, and I'm going to stop again. And what I want you to hopefully observe is there's kind of two events, lower and higher, that don't really agree with each other. And ultimately, the kind of lower gruffer melds into the beauty and compassion of the woodwinds. Let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to point out for this first part. What I want to show you now is just a little bit maybe too advanced, but I'll throw it in there to see if people can appreciate it. So we have do you hear that clash? So we have the lower idea, one of the higher idea, and notice how they kind of don't agree together, but it still is quite pleasurable. Notice how the sound of the lower never really ne mélange pas, we'd say, doesn't mix with the upper register until we get to here. Voilà.